Hello and welcome to the Reading Entertainment Podcast, episode 454 for six. I was like, it's six something. What is that? June 16th, 2024. It's Father's Day. My name is Nathan Reitz-Bruth, and joining me this week we have Andrew Rowe McFain.
It's me. Here I am. I'm alive.
You did it. We've taken a couple weeks off unexpectedly. Apparently, Cyberpunk Monk's microphone broke, and he hasn't had the chance to replace it. And 2 weeks ago, you were working, right? Something came up at work, and
Yeah,
then last week, you had a sinus infection.
yeah. It was it. I hate saying that I was badly sick because like I didn't feel badly sick. It was just that my head felt like it was gonna blow up. So,
I've I had a sinus infection in like 2012, so long time ago, and I coughed so hard I passed out.
oh,
Yeah. And I was like, we were playing League of Legends and I coughed so hard that I passed out and I woke up like just a couple seconds later and I was like, what? I like looked at the screen and I was like, what the fuck? And it took me a second to realize I was playing League of Legends. And I was like, all right, guys, I think this is my last game. And it was at that moment I was like, I should go to the doctor. I should figure out what's going on.
all right, guys. I just lost time.
Yeah, yeah. I like looked because I had sent Heimerdinger back to the base because I was playing Heimer at the time, and I passed. Then I coughed and passed out, and I woke up and Heimerdinger was at the base, and I was like, that's weird. So yeah. Sinus infections can be really bad, is what I'm getting at, and
Yeah.
just a note. The last couple of weeks, so 2 weeks ago and this week or last week, we were gonna do some stuff from the games showcases that happened this year. They're not doing E3 anymore, but each individual company is doing their own game showcase, and then they had like the PC game showcase and stuff like that. We're not gonna cover those because that would take forever, and we were gonna do a little bit of coverage on those the last couple of weeks, but because of unforeseen circumstances, we weren't here. So now we're just gonna move on and hopefully everyone's okay with that. One other thing to talk about before we get into our normal spiel is I told you a couple of weeks ago that YouTube finally added in the ability to do RSS feeds in YouTube Music and in the podcast section. So theoretically, any new episodes being added could automatically be added through YouTube's own algorithm. It didn't work.
Oh.
I added it, and it was so that it would do new episodes. So any new episodes that got added would automatically be uploaded to the YouTube, and I was like, sweet, this should work. And I let it go for a week. So I put it on there. We added the new episode, and then it said processing for a week
Uh.
for that one episode. And I was like, I think I'm just gonna do them individually. I think that'll be a little bit better. So yeah, YouTube just does not like. I don't know if it has to do with the way that we're hosting it, but it just
I
does
don't
not like it.
I don't understand why that would be the case though, because everything else is totally fine.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not like Spotify's great. Works
Yeah.
on iTunes. Works on Stitcher. Like it works on every other podcasting platform except for the Google ones. And I have no idea. I mean, maybe we have to update the server at some point, but I know they're working on a 2.0, Castopod
Uh
2.0. So I would say we'll just wait until that comes out and we can upgrade.
that seems like a good idea.
Yeah. Anyway, what games have you played the last couple of weeks? Oh,
Um
wait.
yeah,
Back up. Where can we find you?
uh, I go to a Roadell website.
Perfect.
It's yeah, like Linktree, but I made it.
Yeah. And
Um
and then what games have you played the last couple of weeks?
so I've been playing a lot of a Vampire Survivors like called Frogue-like,
Mm.
um where you are a frog.
Okay.
and you're eating bugs.
Okay.
That's the game. Your ability upgrades are new tongues that have various properties like freezing bugs, or there's a vampire tongue that refills your health. Um, yeah, it's really cute, but it's also fun.
That
Um,
reminds that I am just think I know it's not these graphics, but I'm thinking about like the Atari 2600 game where there are two frogs and you just jump eating flies. That's
I mean,
just the game that came to my head.
the graphics are very simple. They're very like child's drawing in paint sort of style. It is just a very cute game. I like the way that each level, instead of it, because like unlike with Vampire Survivors, where like you hang out in a level for like 20 or 30 minutes, each level is about 5 minutes long, um, and then you go to a different one, and each
Interesting.
level is framed as like a chapter in a story. And so you're essentially choosing what waves of enemies you're going to get, um, and some of them flow into each other. So like there are sometimes like 3 chapters in a row that are all connected, and in the 3rd one, you get some exclusive item that you normally couldn't get. Uh, it's neat. It's still pretty early on in early access. There's not a whole lot of build variety yet, but it makes my lizard brain excited to play
Numbers
it,
go
so
up.
yeah. Um,
There's a
and
new. Oh, I'm sorry.
I
Go
think
on.
it'll be really good whenever they flesh it out a little more.
Have you seen the game Silico? I think is the name. It's a boomer shooter.
No.
There, apparent. It's a boomer shooter that just released. I think it might be in early access, and uh, apparently it feels like nothing like Doom, but it's amazing. And one of the things in the game is that there's a burger flipper mini game on your like HUD. And so when you go into your menu on the bottom left, there's a burger, and you click on that, and it's a it's an idle game that plays through while you're playing the game. This idle game is also counting up burgers being flipped the whole time.
That's amazing. Oh, I have seen bits of this game because yeah, I don't remember who it was. I bet it was Civi because it runs on GZ Doom,
Yep.
but it does not look anything like GZ Doom. It's like a fucking technical marvel
Yeah,
in that way.
he just came out with a video last week on it. So I thought you would like that. That at least that part of the game. Anyway, any other games you've played that you've spent a lot
uh
of time in?
yeah, two others. Cryptmaster. Um, have you seen anything about Cryptmaster?
No.
It is an old school dungeon crawler typing game.
Okay.
Um,
That sounds good.
and it's like it kind of takes elements almost from text adventures in a way, because like it is a typing game, in the combat segments particularly. Um, and you have to like you essentially have to remember or stop time and look up the names of each of your character's abilities. So like if you want your beefy boy to kick the enemy, you have to type boot, or like zap for doing a lightning bolt, like that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that on its own was nifty. But then there's this whole other aspect of, to unlock new abilities, your characters have to remember things about their lives because they're undead. And the way you go about that is you find these chests out in the environment, and whenever you open a chest, the crypt master pops up, and you essentially have to play a guessing game where you tell him to do something to the item to try to identify it, and you have to guess what it is. So
Interesting.
so you'd be like, like lick it, and you have to type lick, and it'd be like, it's hairy.
Oh,
Like,
it's a cat. Got it.
in one case, it was a rat.
Oh, okay. So
Like,
close.
yeah, it's that kind of stuff. It's really it's a unique way of doing that, and it's also like it's funny. Like I I typed PP, and he just the crypt master just kind of got annoyed. But then I typed poo poo, and he stopped the game, popped up on the screen, and then like yelled at me for being the most crude and disgusting person that he's ever met.
Nice.
And
I
then
like it.
he popped back down. It's a very funny game, but it's also very enjoyable to actually play. It just there's a demo that is a pretty lengthy demo. It's probably got an hour and a half of content in it. Uh, Absolutely recommend. Um, and I would be remiss to not talk about Once Human, which is the last game that I want to talk about. Uh, it's a Chinese game. Not gonna beat around the bush. It's from NetEase. Uh, it's probably going to be extremely exploitative once it actually comes out, but my god, I, uh, I am really addicted to I don't know, what do you wanna call it? The game loop.
Mm,
Uh,
yeah, the
it
mechanics.
combines a bunch of elements of, like, Rust, and, like, an MMO, and it's like Destiny and like Rust and Pal World and like Fallout 76. Like it's a bunch of stuff all distilled down, and it it's in a package that is themed around like Cthulhu slash SCP Foundation shit. Like it has a very unique world that it's putting all of these elements in, and it has been very fun. The first night I played it for 8 hours straight. Like,
Nice.
yeah. Um,
So it's a survival game. That's what you're trying to say.
it it is a survival game, but, like, it's also an RPG and, like, also a looter shooter. Like, it's there's a lot to
Interesting.
it. So yeah, I just again, I'm just playing the demo, which I think is only active for the duration of Steam Next Fest. So today might be the last day for that.
Yeah.
But I think it comes out the second week of July, and it feels like it's going to be free to play. I would imagine since it's NetEase that it will be. Um, so we'll see how exploitative it ends up being.
Fair.
Um, Almost definitely. But I do think it is at least worth a look if you are into that sort of game, uh, and you're sick of I don't know, you're sick of Fallout 76 and Conan Exiles and all of the others that are doing similar things.
Yeah, I haven't played. I have Conan Exiles, and I played it for like 10 minutes, and then haven't since then. But yeah, it's a planned release date July 9th.
Yeah,
So three
uh,
weeks away.
I did have a really weird experience with it, that it doesn't seem like anyone else has figured out, and I finally solved it. Uh, it would not run on my main graphics card. It would only run on my integrated graphics. And
Interesting.
I ended up having to change a registry key to make it work correctly, and I think it's because the game runs as admin. Uh, Apparently if you run a game as admin, or at least it would seem this way, if you run a game as admin, it ignores the Windows 11 graphics setting where you tell it to run on a specific GPU.
Interesting.
Uh, that setting appears to be tied to your user account, And when you run a game as admin, it's running as the system user, so it uses the system user's registry hive. So I had to go in and add the key value there manually. It's very dumb, very frustrating.
I bet.
Uh,
I bet that took you a long time to figure out.
it did.
Yeah.
It did. The first time that I played the game, I just disabled my secondary GPU to get it to play
Mm-hmm.
because otherwise it was running at 5 frames per second. Which, admittedly, like, wow, I was really surprised that my integrated GPU could even run the damn game because it was on high. Like,
Most games allow you to have like you'll go into the settings and it'll be like which GPU,
yeah,
and apparently
right.
this doesn't have it.
No, I went so far as to dig through the executable itself. Like, I loaded up the game and then opened the executable in memory and then went through all of the strings that were present in memory and found the launch options that were in the executable to see if maybe there was one in there that let me tell it to use a specific GPU. And I found one that was called dev, but nothing that I put in that launch option changed anything. So I have no idea. I
Interesting.
complained about it on the official Reddit, and maybe somebody will do something about it, but I doubt it.
Probably not. We're gonna move on to the games I've played the last couple of weeks. I played a little bit of Fallout 76 with Durga. It's all right. Like it's fine now. It's just it's fine. Like nothing went wrong, and we had some fun. We both times. So I played a couple of months ago with AirFox, and we ran into like this blue demon thing. I forget what it's called. Which was like, pretty high level and obviously like a random boss monster you're supposed to either fight with the group or run away from. And it happened with AirFox and it happened with Durga that this thing spawned, and we ended up killing it both times. And by that, I mean we hid in the geometry where the thing couldn't come, and we took pot shots at it and for like 45 minutes until it died. And we didn't really get any great loot off of it. It was awesome. And then
It was incredibly unsatisfying and didn't even reward well.
it's
Great game.
Fallout 76. So and then I played some Blockbuster Inc. You know what that is?
Is that the movies?
Yes. It is the spiritual successor to the movies. And it's okay. I had fun with it for the couple hours that I did play it. The problem I had is that it's too easy. Like, I never felt that I was having any issues making money or making movies. Which might be a me problem. I might just be too good at video games.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah. One thing I will say, so you have the option of which like year you start in. So like 1920, 1930, 1940, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And different technologies will be available to you depending on which era you start in. And I was like, oh, I'll just start in 1920. When it defaults to 1940, and let me tell you, start in 1940. Because it takes so long to unlock new things if you start in like 1920. Because
like you're dealing with like the most advanced special effects is a train moving towards the camera in 1920.
Exactly. And I was able to make, quite a bit of money. When I stopped the game, I played for a couple of hours, and I started out with, I think, $150,000, which is a ton of money back then. And it was 1923 or 1924, and I had $48 million.
Oh.
So,
okay.
It's really easy. Like, you have the option to go in and like direct the scenes and like put the characters you want on screen at the time, and then like basically make it an actual movie. Like I could see people like recreating actual movies with this. But the problem is none of it matters. None
Yeah.
of that directing matters at all. So you just like throw people in a scene and then press create movie and then it makes a ton of money.
Yeah, it's
And
just like the movies.
yeah, exactly. And so I wish it was a little bit more of a sim where you're like actually directing stuff mattered. But I can understand why they wouldn't do that because that would take a lot more time and effort than these people probably the developers have to put into the game. They were
Well,
just trying to
and
make something fun and like the movies.
yeah, 'cause like I don't really know for sure. I was barely even aware that there was a the movies community, though it's kind of a given considering there's a community for everything nowadays.
Yeah.
But like I know that the most fun that I had in the movies was just making movies in
Mm-hmm.
that game. Like the other sim stuff was just like whatever. It was there, but I didn't give a shit.
One thing you can do is in this game you can put like they have like stock audio files that you can put over the movies. So like it'll have like gasp and fog noises or whatever, like foghorns. And it's really loud. You can also take your movies and you can export them to like VP9 or H.264
Yeah.
and save them to your like desktop and stuff, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so it's not bad. It's way too easy, and I think if I were to play it again, I would probably start in a later era, just so that I had access to better technology. Because like the best thing I unlocked was new lighting, like stage lights and new cameras for 1920 is what I unlocked. Another thing I had was 2 cameras. So I could have
Oh.
two of the new cameras. Yeah. And it's fine. It's fine. I could see people making a community out of this and trying to make their own movies. Another game I played with Durga was Level Zero Extraction. This was one of the games that was showed off one of the showcases. And I think it was a PC game showcase. And it's got a free demo right now where you either play as a human or you play as the aliens, and you fight each other. Basically, the humans are trying to escape the the facility that you're at, and the aliens are trying to kill all the humans.
Oh, so it's Left 4 Dead.
Similar to Left 4 Dead, yes. The PvP mode. It's not like Left 4 Dead because in Left 4 Dead you're trying to, as the humans, complete the mission like you would normally.
Yeah.
And the monsters are trying to, kill them.
Kill you.
But you're in it's an extraction shooter. So the humans are trying to get out of the facility.
Oh.
Like, yeah.
So the humans are trying to go in and actively like get loot and stuff as well.
Yes. They're
Okay.
like it's like Tarkov kind of. That
Gotcha.
extraction. And then the monsters are killed by light. So the humans are like constantly like turning on power, like turning on lights and using their flashlights to kill the monsters, which is really annoying. We ended up playing as the monsters exclusively because that's what Durga wanted to do. He didn't want to play as the humans at all. And so we ended up playing as the monsters, which the queue times were really long because I think everyone just wants to play as the monsters.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
It was pretty fun. We ended up getting pretty good towards the end at actually taking the humans out because at first it's kind of annoying because they can just like shine their flashlight at you and you die. But we ended up getting pretty good at like hunting them down. You also like eat eggs. There are eggs that are laid around the ground and you eat them as the monster to get new abilities and stuff. Like You have the ability to like spit on them, but you also get the ability to like create a gas cloud that hurts the humans, etc., etc., etc. You also earn money as a monster that you can then use to buy stuff for the human characters. Because, like with Tarkov, if you go in with stuff and you die, you lose all that stuff, which I hate. I hate it so much. And then this week I played some more Dragon's
Oh wait,
Dogma. Oh,
is there a like $150 version that you can buy that makes it so you don't lose your stuff?
I don't know. I would not be surprised if that was included.
Oh.
But yeah, it was fairly fun. It was fun playing with somebody. I don't think I would have fun playing by myself. I think if I played by myself, I would be incredibly annoyed after like the first 2 rounds and just give up.
That's what's a bad game.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, bad game, terrible. And then I played some Dragon's Dogma 2 the last couple of weeks, and they have a fake out. I'm gonna spoil it in case anybody actually cares, but I don't think anybody cares who is listening to this, and I don't think you care. You get to a point in the game where you go up to the dragon and you're like, "Hey, dragon, apparently I'm supposed to kill you," and he's like, "Yeah, you wanna
Hey,
hop
Dragon,
him?"
give me that dogma.
And then he's like, "Okay, you wanna hop on my back and we'll go to the battle area?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I want to ride a dragon." And so I ride the dragon to the battle area, and he's like talking the whole time while you're on his back. And he's just like, "Yeah, so this happened to me. We're gonna battle, and we're gonna start everything's gonna start over again. It'll be great." I'm like, okay. And then we get to the area, you kill the dragon, and everything acts like they play the credits, and it gets to a scene where you're like in a banquet hall, like, and everyone's congratulating you, and you're the new sovereign, you're the king of the area for the next 20 to 30 years. And then there's a ghost there, and you talk to the ghost, and he's like, just be happy, man. Just be happy. This is how it's supposed to go. You're good. And then you go up to the ghost again, and he's like, do you really want to do it again? And you do it again. And it takes you back to when you're riding on the dragon. So that's like the fake out ending. You then climb the dragon towards where the dragon's heart is, and you use a blade on it. You actually use the blade on yourself, which basically shows that this entire thing was like a ruse, like it was all fake. And you go into like the ruined world and have to continue doing that. And then at the end of that, after a few days, you then get the real ending. So I ended up actually beating the game, but I could see some people actually stuck and being like, wait, why? This is the ending. I'm good. And just quitting instead of continuing on and actually like finishing the game. One last thing I want to say is there's a headless horseman, that random enemy that pops up and in the ruined world, and it's really hard. It's really hard to kill him. He's more powerful than the dragon I had to fight. But yeah, it's a good game, but they did a fake out ending in the first game too. So it's not surprising that I knew that they were going to do a fake out ending in this game.
That's a lot less interesting.
The fake out ending's different.
Well, yeah, but still.
It's a different type of, like, it's the first game is you end up becoming like your own like ghost, where you can like walk around. You become the dragon basically in the first game.
You become the dragon dogma.
Yeah. And you're like a ghost, and you wander around and you see like how everything's progressing in each of the towns that you visited. And it's just, and then you get to go and like sit on your throne, and then you end up using a blade on yourself that ends up taking you out, and your spirit like goes into your pawn. And that's how, and then your pawn becomes you. It's weird. It's really odd. And then I played some Hades too, and that game's fun because I've got to the surface. So you go to the underworld and you fight Kronos. That's the boss who annoys you because you can't pause the game while you're fighting him. And my cat always decides to cough up hairballs as I start up that fight. So I'll be like, all right, fighting Kronos, and then I hear like Zoe over hacking in the corner. I'm like, ah, and I had to grab her and throw her outside so she pukes outside. Yeah, it's great. But it's a good game. And then after you go to the bottom, after you do that a few times, you unlock the surface, and you're gonna go up to the surface. Once you beat that, then you're gonna go up to Olympus, and that's the part that hasn't been made yet. Olympus hasn't
that's
been
whenever
made
you
yet.
kill Zeus.
Yeah, hopefully that'd be cool. Be awesome. Helping kill Zeus. Though I don't know how it's gonna play out. The gods are helping you throughout the game, so I'm not sure if their bonuses are gonna really help when you're trying to murder them.
Well, that's
We'll
whenever
see.
you get bonuses from the Titans.
That would be awesome. That'd be cool to actually take out the gods. Anyway, those are the games I played.
No
the
other
last
game's
couple
ever
weeks.
done that.
No other game has ever done anything like that where you have to kill the gods, and then
With the help of the Titans.
do it.
Like riding on a Titan as they climb up Mount Olympus. That's not a thing.
Nope, never happened. Never ever happened. Not God of War or anything like that.
No, I don't know what that is.
Don't know what it is. Anyway, we're gonna move on and we're gonna talk about some news stories. We spoke about this story a few weeks ago. Microsoft Recall AI feature is postponed because nobody liked it.
Yeah. Who would have possibly seen that coming?
Yeah. They are postponing it until they can get. It will only release the feature for all Copilot Plus PCs after it receives feedback from its insider community of testers. So they are going to release it eventually when the heat dies down.
Yeah, basically.
That's basically it. Yeah.
They did already say that they are changing it so that I want to say you need to have admin rights, I think, to actually access the data because originally it was just kind of there.
Oh.
It may even be like BitLocker encrypted now. I'm not totally sure, but it was like trivially easy to export your recall data. So realistically, somebody with physical access to your PC could plug a
USB
USB
drive.
rubber ducky in and in like 2 seconds just send all of that data somewhere.
Well, they say here in the article from Engadget, the company announced more privacy and security changes to Recall earlier this month, include making it opt-in, which is for a feature
How it
like
should
this.
be anyway.
Yeah. When a user sets up a Copilot Plus PC, its Windows OS will ask them whether they want to enable the feature. Users will also need to verify their identities through Windows Hello authentication method, such as facial recognition or fingerprint scan, before they can access the encrypted recall timeline. That's not a foolproof method, however, since anybody who knows their PIN will be able to see the recall snapshots. They're still delaying the launch until they get feedback, and I don't know. It'll be all right. It'll be whatever. As long as it's opt-in, and also this would definitely be something that's being disabled via group policy where I'm working.
Oh yeah, yeah. Every major company is going to disable this by default, like
Yeah,
immediately.
we
Uh,
disable
I
a lot
just
of stuff. Like the store isn't available. Like you can't download anything from Microsoft Store.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Which is annoying because like there was one build. It was before I got there. One like build that people were pushing out that didn't have like certain weird apps in, like calculator wasn't installed. And
Oh
then
yeah, yeah.
I had to go and I like tried to download it from the store and she was like, "Nah, you're blocked." I'm like,
Yeah, we had an issue where people couldn't open attachments outside of Outlook, and it turned out it was because the Photos app wasn't on their machine. and you can only get the Photos app from the Windows Store.
Yeah. Companies suck sometimes. There's
Yeah.
a big problem we have where people will like forget their passwords and not be able to log in. And then we have to get them on a different account. I have to help them get into a different account and then get them on the VPN, and then the switch user function doesn't work. And so I have to go in and go into the registry and enable that feature so that switch user works. But what we should do is there's a thing with Cisco AnyConnect where you can log into the VPN before you log into Windows.
Mm-hmm.
And that would fix everything. And I've been telling them to do this for 3 years. Ever since the fucking day I started, I had mentioned this. And they haven't done it. The person who needs to do it just has not implemented this feature, and it needs to be implemented so that we don't have to have them logging into an admin account to get them into the fucking thing, so that I can have them switch user to go and log into their account because they forgot their password. Yeah. Anyway,
and this is off on a tangent, but I'm curious. Do you guys use like Laps, or is there just like a default admin account on every machine?
I'm not saying that on air.
Okay.
Yeah. So So we're gonna move on to our next. We're gonna move on to our next thing that hopefully won't get me fired.
I was gonna make the comment. I can't wait until Recall ends up outing a politician or something.
Yeah, that would be great. It's like, oh, look at this. Definitely porn. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna, whatever it is, it's gonna be some kind of porn.
Oh, it always happens, and it's always like, I am against trans people, and then they're on the house floor and have trans porn on their phone or something.
Oh man, it looks like he spent 16 hours looking at trans porn for in the last month. That's
So this article is posted, I believe, by Connor, but it's from the Telegraph, and I don't have a membership because, of course, why do people put memberships? I don't know. But this is from the Telegraph. It says Google curbs AI search tool after it told people to literally eat rocks.
Yeah. Basically, I kind of know the gist of this. Google has very much pared back on their AI enhanced searching, because it was telling people to eat rocks and put glue on their pizza.
Oh, good, it works. So, sorry, I interrupted you, but put a dot after the UK.
Ah, okay.
And that will unlock the article for you. Just so you know, it's a little trick that works on a lot of websites. It's so this is telegraph.co.uk. If you put a period after the UK but before the /, it unlocks the article so you can actually read it. Yeah, that's great security. There was another site that did that I think they fixed it. It was like New York Times, and they ended up fixing that little thing, but the Telegraph hasn't. So we can actually read the article. It says Google has limited what search results are answered by its artificial intelligence systems after they resulted in a string of errors, including claiming Barack Obama was a Muslim. The company said it was adding new restrictions to its AI overview feature with provided AI summaries to answers to search queries. And if anybody is listening to my chat and I read that sentence that said, it claimed Barack Obama was a Muslim, and you thought, man, but Barack Obama is a Muslim, please don't listen to my podcast. Just stop it. So yeah, it says last week users found that it would provide incorrect answers to questions, often using joke websites or posts on internet forums, or by misinterpreting reliable sources. This included recommending that people eat one small rock per day based on an article in a satirical news site called The Onion, or using glue to make pizza, referencing a comment on Reddit. It also said that President Obama was the first Muslim U.S. president after misunderstanding an academic textbook. So it stopped using
No,
that
this stuff's definitely
feature.
ready for prime time.
Yep,
It's definitely, we should be putting AI in everything.
I think so. It's not even AI. It's just like machine learning. You
Yeah.
know that, but
Yeah.
yeah. So it's working on it. Also, what's this picture? The second picture.
Oh,
It says Google said it had created an additional trigger where AI overviews were not proving to be as helpful. However, it is persisting with the feature and insisted that users were finding it useful. It says Google's Gemini chatbot was also curbed after it began generating historically inaccurate images of black Nazis. Yep, that's something that happened.
oh yeah.
Yep. Did you not have the article unlocked?
I did not have it open at all.
Yeah, the second article, or the second picture in
Uh,
the article after you unlock it is
It's a
that's what.
black Nazi.
Yep, that's don't do that. Don't do such
Yeah,
things.
it was because they had tuned it to be more like racially inclusive, and the
Just
problem
like
with doing that is yeah, just like the Nazis, very racially inclusive. The Nazis.
anyway, man, we're just gonna get canceled all throughout this podcast.
I'm glad we're not popular.
Oh yeah. Maybe one day. Maybe one day somebody will go back and be like, "What were they laughing at there?" We're moving on to our next story, which is it's one of the stories. Every time I see one of these stories, I want to talk about it because I love them. I love them so much. Disgruntled ex-employee deletes 180 test servers, costing the company nearly $680,000. Yeah.
Ex-employee.
Ex-employee. Oh, it goes into it in the article. This is from TechSpot.
I see.
NCS terminated the contract of a 39-year-old Kandula Nagaraju
Nice.
in October of 2022, reportedly due to subpar job performance. Nagaraju had worked as a quality assurance specialist using test servers to vet applications prior to the release to customers and end users. Court documents noted that he felt confused and upset over the termination, as he believed he made good contributions to NCS during his time with the company. And then basically he goes and he finds out that he still has access. And it says he devised a plan to get revenge on NCS. He found delete scripts online and tweaked them to run on the test servers. He deployed the script, which is designed to delete servers one at a time, over the weekend of March 18 and 19. By the time the NCS employees got to the office the following Monday, all 180 of the company's test servers had fallen. This is why I complained about it before. When a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, when I worked at Facebook, and they had the wrong end date on my profile. So I came into work and I tried to badge in, and all of my access was gone. Every bit of it. And it was weird. It happened to be on the day that I actually went into the office. So had I been at home, I would have just tried logging into my computer and nothing would work. But I actually tried going into the office and none of my badges, like I couldn't badge in or anything. This is why they do that.
Yeah.
This is like, I was confused because I had only been there for like a month. And I was like, this is freaking weird. And then after like I had worked there for 8 or 9 months, and they do this all the time. There are lots, like they make that mistake all the time where a newish employee or an employee that had been there for a few months accidentally had the wrong termination date, and so their account access got denied. And it takes like 3 or 4 days for all of that access to come back. And
Yeah.
Facebook's policy on it, which I'm going to give them credit, they said, sit at home, don't do anything. We'll tell you when you're ready to work again. We'll pay you. And I was like, okay. And so it took
Yeah, it's not your fault.
it took like 3 days. They paid me. And that's their general behavior. This happens all the time. And they would rather pay the person or pay the multiple users for 3 days of work rather than having somebody go in and take out millions of dollars in servers if their termination didn't happen that day that they got terminated.
What I find most interesting is that a QA specialist had the rights to delete servers.
Yeah, that's
So I think there are multiple levels of this company isn't following very good OPSEC.
yeah. According to the NCS, the incident cost the company $678,000 to straighten out. Fortunately, no sensitive customer or company information was stored on the test servers. So they just lost a lot of money. But yeah, obviously he's going to prison. Pretty sure. They reported the incident to the police in April of 2023, and it didn't take long for authorities to track him down. On his seized laptop, police found the script used to the attack and even search history related to using deleted scripts on virtual servers. Okay, and we're going to go back here. If you do this, if you decide you're a disgruntled employee, you're going to use your access to go in and delete these servers, wipe it. Wipe your laptop afterwards. What's wrong with you?
Well, dude was like thinking that he would get away with using his own account to do this.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that wasn't smart. But then, yeah, on top of that, not deleting his search history was, come on, man.
Yeah, it said
And I should also point out, NCS, this company, they have a revenue of $2.728 billion.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, this is like
a drop in the bucket.
This is nothing.
Yep.
So.
He was sentenced to 2 years and 8 months in jail. I mean, that's not that bad. Like I would have expected it to be more.
Yeah, I guess so.
But whatever. 2 years and 8 months, and he'll probably get out in 2 with good behavior. So I don't know. Was it worth it?
I don't know if that works in India.
I have no idea. I don't know if that's how it is in other countries. I know that's how it is in the United States, but maybe he'll have to serve his full sentence. And I don't think he's going to get a tech job after this.
Yeah, which is very unfortunate because there's not much else you're going to get that's going to pay decently well in that area of the world.
Maybe he'll get a job for a scam company or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got that going. Last thing to talk about for this week is we've spoken about it before, multiple times throughout the years. Net neutrality, something we are hugely in favor of here at the Read and Entertainment Podcast. ISPs, not so much, because it will probably cost them a little bit of money. Out of their billions and billions of dollars, it might cost them like a couple $100,000, and they don't like that. So they are seeking the halt of net neutrality rules before they take effect next month. This has already been in courts. Like years ago when Obama was still president, in like 2014, 2015 is when net neutrality became a thing. And they already took it to courts. It was already approved. And now they're like, oh no, it's illegal. It's illegal for you to do this. This is from Ars Technica. As expected, broadband industry lobby groups have sued the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, in an attempt to nullify net neutrality rules that prohibit blocking, throttling, and paid prioritization. Lobby groups representing cable, telecom, and mobile internet service providers sued the FCC in several U.S. appeals courts last week. Industry groups also filed a petition with the FCC on Friday, asking for a stay of the rules, claiming that regulation shouldn't take effect while litigation is pending because the industry is likely to prevail in court. No, it's not. This has already happened.
Yeah.
So unless, for some reason, unless the courts are super right wing for some reason and would take the side of ISPs and take precedent and then just throw it out the door, which would never happen. It's gonna go through. I do like this. It says the FCC is likely to reject the petition for a stay. Yeah. It's funny. You are going up to the people who voted to make net neutrality rules, and you're saying, hey, we need to halt this. Will you vote to halt this thing that you approved? No, we will not. But then after that's rejected, they can ask the appeals court judges to impose an injunction that would prevent enforcement. The industry lost a similar case during the Obama era, but is hoping to win this time because of the Supreme Court's evolving approach on whether federal agencies can decide major questions without explicit instructions from Congress. So they're hoping that the FCC will not halt it. The appeals court will go either. It doesn't matter which way the appeals court goes, because if the appeals court goes with the industry and says, oh yeah, we can block this or we can halt this or where net neutrality is illegal, either way, whichever side loses is going to try to take it to the Supreme Court.
Yep. And then
who knows what'll happen.
Yeah, honestly, I would say it's a toss up.
Yep.
Because like, who would have expected the Supreme Court to be like, yeah, you can have abortion pills?
Yeah,
I didn't.
I kind of expected them to do that because
unanimously though?
It wasn't unanimous. I don't think.
Yes, it was.
Was it? There was another
unanimous.
There was another decision that was 8-1 last week, so I confused the two. I think it's them saying that they want it to be like, the idea is, oh, we want it to be a states thing, so the states can decide what. But I'm not sure what this is. Theoretically, the FCC should be able to do this. It was done under the Obama era. Basically, the FCC has the ability to make it a utility. Give me 1 second here. I had a cough in my throat. Sorry. Tickle.
Heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh no. I'll have to delete that for a sec. For that at 52 minutes, I'll have to delete that.
If it had taken you like a few more seconds, I was going to make a joke about you vomiting.
Oh no. I'm sorry. I was coughing so hard I was passing out. Back now. What were we doing? By reclassifying broadband under Title II of the Communications Act of 1934, the Commission asserts the power to set prices, dictate terms and conditions, require or prohibit investment or divestment, and more. It should be indisputable that the major questions doctrine applies to that seismic claim of authority, the petition for a stay said. Yeah, it probably does do that, but they also have the ability to do that, which they've done before. And
it's almost like these groups that were created by the government, like they have a job to like, manage certain areas of the country.
Yeah.
Like in the, like, the FCC is supposed to like regulate communications.
Yeah. Well, and the whole thing, the reason, or the biggest reason I think that this came about, or at least became popular, was it Comcast about a decade ago, a little over a decade ago, 2011, 2012. They were throttling Netflix.
Yeah.
And they had their own competing internet or streaming service that they were trying to push to their customers. And so they were throttling Netflix, and so people were getting buffer. Like, you try to watch a video and it'd buffer for a extended a period of time, or halfway through the movie it would like stop and you'd have to like wait for a few seconds before you're able to watch it again. Or it would lower to like, instead of playing at like 1080p or 720p, it would be playing at 480p. And that was to Comcast going, we want you to use our streaming service, which isn't throttled, because we're not throttling it. And that's why, partially, why the FCC was like, no, you can't do this. We need these net neutrality rules where you can't prioritize your own services over other services and create unfair competition.
Yeah.
And so you have
Which,
to like keep that in mind, because the companies will say, no, we won't do stuff like that, when they've already proved that they'll do stuff like that.
yeah, and it's like, it's most fascinating to me because the right wing side of the conversation are very often made up of people who are pro-capitalist,
Yeah.
right? Like, it, there, some of them are even to like the libertarian side of things, and it's like, well, is this really capitalism when it comes down to this? When it gets to the point of like a company can just kind of do whatever the hell they want
Yes.
and run other companies out of business.
I would argue that would be the definition of capitalism.
But is it good capitalism, I
No.
guess to say?
No.
And I would say no.
Yeah.
I think at least with a lot of people who are pro capitalism, they would say that competition breeds innovation. And if you are actively stifling competition, then you're not doing anything good for innovation. You're
And
you're stifling innovation.
I agree with you. But like, yeah, I would say like the purest form of capitalism would say that that was okay. And that's why we have companies, or I'm sorry, that's why we have the government to put regulations on these companies. There's a book that I've read called The Poison Squad. And have you ever heard of this book?
I don't read.
It talks about the formation of the FDA, and lots of people will complain about the FDA, with
Oh
food.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
how they were literally like putting poison in food before the FDA came around.
yeah, like they were like, there were lots of things that they were doing over 100 years ago that we need the FDA, because companies will start to do this shit again. They were taking milk and then watering it down and then putting up mixed in like calf brains to thicken it up again. Just random stuff like if you went and you bought pepper, probably over half of it was just dust.
But yeah, I was gonna say, like, consider the fact that the FDA had to create a standard for how much sawdust can be in ground beef.
Yeah,
A-
like they
And
they
like,
will.
what prompted that?
Yeah, they'll definitely do stuff like that again if we got rid of the FDA. And so there are reasons why we have FDA and the FCC that help regulate these companies.
The
And
FTC.
yeah, FTC. Um, but the
Just
FTC
imagine the
kind of
fucking
sucks.
world without. Yeah, but I mean, imagine how things would be without the FTC.
Yeah,
Like,
it's true. Like we would only have, if the FTC wasn't around, I think we would only have AT&T and Verizon. That would be it.
yeah,
Because I think AT&T wanted to buy. Yeah, AT&T was going to buy T-Mobile. Sprint would have still gotten bought up by somebody. So
yeah.
T-Mobile bought Sprint, but they're like a decade ago. I think it was 2014. AT&T was trying to buy T-Mobile, and the FTC blocked it because they were afraid that it would create a monopoly. And AT&T was like, "Yeah, that's the fucking point. We're trying."
Yes, that's the plan.
So like right now we only have like the three major companies already. We have Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T. And I mean, obviously there's a bunch of little companies, but they all rely on those three.
Yep.
And without the FTC, we might just have Verizon. It might just be one of them. And so I'm very happy that they're around. Same thing with like Intel and AMD. Intel and AMD, they support each other a lot more than you would realize. Same thing with Microsoft and Macintosh. Like they support each other to the point where I think Microsoft has given Apple money before just so that they would stay afloat in like the 90s. Because they don't want to be the only thing in town, because then all eyes are on you. And they don't want to have that monopoly because the FTC is there. If the FTC wasn't around, they would not give a shit. So yeah, I hope that net neutrality stays. I hope that it doesn't go to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court like knocks it down. That would suck. Because you're just giving more and more money and more freedom to these giant, massive, faceless corporations. Anyway, yeah, anything left to say on that?
The fuck the police coming straight from the underground.
But I guess you technically are from the underground right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in the basement. And
I am underground.
Yeah, we will be back next week, hopefully, talking about some more stuff. And yeah, goodbye.
Oh, okay. Goodbye, I guess. All right.